What's going on, everyone? We got an update in regards to Dennis Schroder and his injury. So Dennis Schroder is going to be out 3 to 4 weeks due to thumb surgery. Apparently he hurt his thumb and now is going to require surgery. So he's going to miss at least the first month or so of the NBA season, which is a real blow, right? I mean, they acquired Dennis Schroder as a guy to kind of back up or maybe even start over Russell Westbrook. He was also a guy that they acquired to kind of keep him away from other teams. And the Lakers really need bodies, right? They really need guys that can come in and make an impact night in and night out. And that's what the hope with Dennis Schroder was. Now, I don't think this is like a huge detriment. I don't think that this is like, oh, that's it, the Lakers are done because Dennis Schroder isn't playing. But he's definitely a valuable piece that really could have helped and in many ways, right? He had a great EuroLeague showing for Germany, and that's kind of what sparked the interest in Dennis Schroder amongst several teams and why the Lakers were able and willing to go acquire him, because they were like, man, if he could replicate anything close to that on this team, then one, we keep him away from all the other teams, but also we get a real valued asset, right? Especially for a minimum, low risk, high reward type player, high reward type play. He has chemistry and, a history with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, even Russell Westbrook. So that's good. When LeBron and AD were all on the court together, they were a plus 15.5. So that was really good. That was one of the better trios in the league that season that they were together. So you know that there can be some efficiency with him and the other guys. Guy that is just tenacious on the defensive end and can really kind of, make things just challenging and difficult and guard somebody all the way up the court, which I think is really valuable. Him and Patrick Beverley really would have been those dogs for us, those sort of pit bulls, which would have been kind of nice to have. And then, of course, just his play in general, being able to create shots for others, get to the basket, knock down the three ball. He's not a great three-point shooter, but he shoots around league average, which is good. That's something that the Lakers need, is three-point shooting. And now that he's out, it kind of sucks, and it begs a real question. Luckily, the Lakers have just this bevy of guards, right? Still have Kendrick Nunn. You still have like Austin Reeves, who could play and make. Russell Westbrook, obviously. Patrick Beverley, LeBron James. So it's not, again, I don't think it's a huge detriment in the sense of like, oh no, like now what are we going to do for our point guard play? Now what's going to happen? We'll be fine in that regard. But if you're the Lakers, like this kind of sucks. And, hopefully when he's out, hopefully he can recover and everything like that. Hopefully the Lakers can kind of weather the storm, be good enough to where they don't have to rush him back or anything along those lines. And then when he comes back, he can continue to make an impact and really help this team going forward. Because if he can't, then it kind of begs the question of like, what do you do? If he's just, even if he comes back and starts struggling because, the thumb is bothering him or just messing with them and it's not healing, it didn't heal properly, or he rushed back to kind of join the team and he didn't have the proper time to heal because the Lakers, they need everybody, right? I mean, I think that the Lakers have potential to be a very good team, but they need healthy players. They need guys that can come in and really be key contributors. And if Dennis Schroder isn't that guy, like, what do? Do you cut him? Do you just end up waiving him just to make room for a roster spot so that way you could get somebody? Or do you remain patient and try to keep him? Do you try to, at some point, say, because you got to wait 3 months or whatever. So in like December, I believe they could trade him. Maybe you start looking at a trade for him, like trying to add him on to something else. I don't know. It really poses a question that I don't think the Lakers planned on having just be there. The Lakers were hoping Schroder comes in. He had a stellar, summer playing for Germany, comes in and immediately makes an impact for this Lakers team. That was kind of the hope. That was kind of the look that the Lakers were going for, a guy that kind of puts pressure on Russell Westbrook to be a better version of Russell Westbrook. Stuff like that is just, I think, was hugely beneficial. A guy that could start for you on some nights, could play off the bench, a guy that seems willing to come in and accept his role, which I think is great. And he's a guy that, he was a sixth man, right? He was a guy that him and Montrezl Harrell just a couple seasons ago were in the conversation. He was really showing great promise. Ends up coming to Lakers. He had some bright spots. He had some bad spots. Don't get me wrong. But the difference is this time he's not kind of our third guy. He's now, amongst the crowd of players. So if he could be that high value type player, then that's just hugely beneficial and impactful for this team. And I think he's a guy that could really help put some W's in the win column for the Lakers. Just his versatility, his defense, just getting at it, not really taking plays off, stuff like that, I think is really huge and would be beneficial for the Lakers. I mean, that was the whole reason they went and signed him. Now, also, when it comes to a Russell Westbrook trade, do you wait until Schroder comes back and kind of see how he looks? Because if he comes back and he's not that guy, or it's just there's some issues with his just shooting or just ball handling or just things in general. If you're the Lakers, do you go, hey, we might need Russ more now than ever? That's a real question. I mean, again, you do have, even if you do trade Russ, you still have Patrick Beverly, you still have LeBron James, you still have, Walker, you still have guys, Austin Reeves, that can play make, things along those lines. But having Dennis Schroder really helped alleviate the trade of Russell Westbrook, to really help this team. And also one of the reports that have came out was that the Lakers went and traded for Dennis Schroder because of a Russell Westbrook trade. Now, this isn't like a season-ending injury or anything like that. It's a thumb issue, but hey, like that affects all your play. That affects your defense, your ball handling, your shooting. I mean, look what happened with THT. Now, obviously, he's still not doing really much, but like that was a real thing. And you saw that it affected his game in general, his shooting, his dribbling, his defense, all of that stuff, because he ended up having a hand issue as well. And now you have Dennis Schroder, who is going through the same thing. It's like, does that hinder his play? Does that make it so he can't really be as effective as we need him to be and as impactful as we need him to be? I think it's a real concern. I think it's a real question. And I think it's something the Lakers are going to really have to sit and think of. Like, what do we do? Where do we go from here? Again, we have so many guards. I don't think it's a huge deal. I'm not saying like, oh, it's time to panic. I don't think Schroder is going to be that impactful that it's like, I don't think this is like the equivalent of losing like LeBron or anything like that. But I do think he's a guy that could really make an impact. I think he's a guy that could go get you 10 to 15 points a game, run your offense, play some defense. That's valuable. That's a guy that really can make an impact. That is a guy that can really, again, put some wins in the column. I don't think we're a contender because we have Schroder or anything like that. But I do think he can equate to at least a handful more wins than we would otherwise. He is capable of having a big game or a big moment or a big stop or a big play, something that I think could really kind of change the tide of a game or two here and there. And then just his experience and veteranness, I think, is something that is valuable in and of itself. But we'll see. I mean, look, regardless, Tuesday's right around the corner, right? We're a day away from actually seeing what's going to develop with the Lakers and how they're going to look. Schroder would be nice that game, right? A guy that could guard, Steph and chase him around. A guy that can match up with Clay or Jordan Poole, chase them around. And now we lost that body that could do that. I just think it definitely could have an impact. I don't think it's going to be, again, detrimental or anything like that. But I do think it's a real impact to this team and just the play in general. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of this news about Dennis Schroder and this injury? Do you think, it's not a big deal? No reason to panic, no reason for anything. He'll be back in a month or so, and we'll still be good. Everything will be okay. It's not going to make a difference either way. We're either going to be good regardless, or we're going to be bad regardless, and Schroder isn't going to save the day or make a difference either way? Or do you think, no, he is a real impact guy? He's a guy that can play both sides of the ball, a guy that could create, get his own shots, put the ball on the hoop for you, especially after just his play in Germany. Again, that was the thing that sparked the excitement and interest of Dennis Schroder for many teams. Many people were like, hey, this is a guy that really can play. Maybe if we could bring him in, he could be a quality asset on the cheap end. And the Lakers were able to kind of snatch him away, keep him from other teams, which is good, but also be able to use his services this upcoming season. And, again, it's not like a season-ending injury or anything like that, or something where he's out 6 to 8 months or something crazy. But I mean, he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks, so that's going to be a pretty good sample size without him. And so, I do think he is good enough to make somewhat of an impact. But again, however you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. So let me know down in the comment section below.